again. Though her roots go back to the streets of Detroit, you know our next guest well as one of 3 women who had more #1 hit records than anybody except the Beatles and Elvis Presley.
Well, she was the one in the middle, the girl they called the sexy one. She's the author of the bestseller Dream Girl, My Life as a Supreme. Please help us welcome Mary Wilson.
Thank you.
Popular.
Wow, yeah, it's nice.
Well, your book was a bestseller.
Yes,
is a bestseller.
My paperback is now. Yeah.
And you've been very successful on the road with your own act.
Yes.
And you've talked about the past. But you're a success on your own now. Do you ever wish that you had just started out to make it as Mary Wilson and never been a Supreme?
No. I love being a Supreme. In fact, I've often said if I had not been a Supreme, I would have wanted to have been one, and I would have wanted to be Mary Wilson.
Tell us about the days
I mean, it's true.
of being a Supreme. Tell us about the first time you guys hit it, and you knew you hit it.
We had been singing since 1959, and we did our first Dick Clark tour, and our record was released. It was our 11th record that was released, and we were on the show with Gene Pitney, whom I was in love with. I tried to sit in the seat next to him on the bus every day, you know. And so anyway, at the beginning of the tour, they would announce Gene Pitney, the Shirelles, the Drifters, and others. And the Supremes, we were like the others. And towards like the 3rd week, we would go on stage, and Dick Clark would say, "Now, ladies and gentlemen, here is the Supremes." And you heard this kind of like applause like that, and we said, and like the next week it would get stronger. And this 3rd week, it got so strong, we turned around in the wings and said, "Who are they applauding for? Did Gene stick his head out there?" Our record, Where Did Our Love Go, had become #1 while we were on this tour. And we had no idea of knowing it. We had been out there for 3 months.
What's interesting is, you talk about that. You were a major success. You didn't know about it. You only earned $5,000 for every 1,000,000 records that were sold. Were you aggravated about that? And do you think that could happen today? Could an artist be that in the dark today?
Well, the reason that I decided to write my book was that I felt we were very young, and we had received so much so very early. We didn't have the knowledge of the business, and that there are lots of people out there who are making millions of dollars today, much more than we made, because the economics of the world is so much higher now. That I felt I should tell my story so that if there are other people out there who are talented, and someone comes up to you and say, "I'm going to make you a star," and you say, okay, sign me. You sign your name there, and you sign away everything without reading it. So I wrote this book so that that would not happen, or hopefully would not happen, or if one person reads and they say, "Oh, well, maybe I better get the right lawyer, maybe I'd better get this and that and that." But I think that those things are still happening today, but not like they were happening when we were starting out, because the business was very young then.
Yeah.
You know? Well, one of the things that you also write about is you said that when Diana would enter the room, she would enter first on the arm of the big executive after a while, and you guys would be...
was short.
A little executive. And you guys would be asked to follow behind, even though you were really fully a third of what was going on. Did you resent that at all?
Well, first of all, that happened after. This was like maybe 19.
Yeah.
The latter part of 67 and definitely, the latter part of 66 and definitely 67. At first, we were all there. The 3 of us would enter together. But as the plans changed, and I believe Barry and Diane decided that she was going to be the one that was pushed forward.
Barry Gordy.
Yes, Barry Gordy, the short one that you were saying. The executive you were talking about.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said it. He's a great guy, actually. But after a while, they did get the plan together where they would allow Diane to go in first. They would tell us, "Well, you come down like at 6:30. Well, we didn't know that they had told Diane to come down at 6:15. You know, and so that's how that.
When that happened? I know with Flo, it didn't set well at all.
It was, well, Florence was a very, very earthy girl. I mean, she was the kind of girl that would stand for nothing. If it wasn't right, you know, she'd say, "Whoa, hold it, okay, I'm not going." This is what she was. And so it got to the point where we would talk about it and we said, well, you know, Diane doesn't mean any harm. Because see, Diane was really, it was like the boss had chosen her and she was going for her thing.
Yeah.
She was thinking that we were taking care of ourselves, and I don't think it was a point in her mind where, well, I'm going to do this against Florence and Mary. It wasn't that. It was just all this was coming to her and she was taking it. But we got to the point where we knew it wasn't malicious, but yet still it hurt.
It hurt.
And so Florence would eventually stand up for us. I mean, Florence was the one who stood up, and she would say, Barry, I'm not going, I don't like that, or whatever. Yeah. And it started hurting her so much. Eventually, she started drinking more, and then she finally left. Yeah. It was just not a very nice moment.
What's your relationship now with Diana Ross? Do you have one? Do you ever
I'm glad you
talk
asked
and get
that.
together?
Our relationship, I think, is, for me, not where I would like it to be.
Yeah.
But it's not the way the press and everyone thinks it is.
Good.
We were three girls caught up in this vacuum. We lived together every moment, every second, doing everything together, wearing identical clothes, identical wigs, identical eyelashes, you know. And I think after we grew up, and she left and I did my own thing, we felt that we needed to find our own identity. And Diane has been doing that and doing very well. Yeah. And so we have not been together. But we have not actually been upset or mad with each other. Yeah. So it's something that I know we'll get back together. I know we will eventually say, listen, you know, 20 years have gone by, you know, we've had enough time to find out who we were. You know, now let's talk. And that will happen.
So I love her. Getting to be a grown-up, right?
Yeah. You know what? I just turned 43, and I really...
Oh, you're my age,
I just, you know what? I just finally found out that I'm an adult. I mean, I kept wondering, well, when am I going to become an adult? You know, when is it going to say, bang, you're an adult now? Because I always feel like this little kid.
Yeah. Well, what made you feel that way all of a sudden?
Well, the bills and the children.
And the children.
I mean, basically, I still feel like that little three-year-old girl that I was. And when I realized that I was an adult, I said, well, I can still be that young kid and still be an adult, too. And that was when I found out that's how you become an adult.
That's it.
You know, it's no big bang.
Don't go away.
Right?
We're gonna come back more with you in just a moment. Stay with us.
We are back with the supremely talented singer, Mary Wilson.
Okay, Mary, I have to know something. You were as famous as anybody can get. I mean, everybody adored the Supremes. Yes. Everybody was there. You had anything you wanted at any time. What's it like having all that and then not having it?
Well, the one thing that someone said, put it a different way, and I'll bring that up as well. They said, how does it feel that you're not successful now? And I said, well, first of all, what makes you think that I'm not successful?
I wouldn't put it that way.
I enjoyed being up on top of the world, and I lived it to the hilt, honey. I mean, I had fun. You know, I had fun. I was a star, but I was also a human being. And so that took me through the period of when there was no longer Supremes, and I had to go to Europe to learn how to sing words, to learn how to be a soloist. And in doing that, I found that I was still a star, but not of that magnitude. But it didn't matter, because what mattered was that I still enjoyed performing.
The work.
I enjoyed performing, and I enjoyed the second challenge of now finding Mary Wilson. And I've done that. I mean, I've done a lot of planning to be where I am today. People, before they knew me, they said, well, you look familiar. And then someone would say, a guy was in the grocery store, and he was staring at me, and I had my little cart there, and I had my hair pulled back in a ponytail, my own hair. And no eyelashes. And so he came and he says, you look like Mary Wilson. And I didn't really want him to know who I was, so I said, I wish I was her. I wish I had her money. But to answer your question, I don't feel any difference. I feel the difference in my pocketbook. I feel the difference when I go to a club and it's filled up and I have to say, well, I'm Mary Wilson of the Supremes, and they didn't recognize me right off the bat, and I have to say that. I feel the difference is there. But it doesn't matter, because now I feel that I am a star and growing as Mary Wilson. So it's like a second chance.
Yeah,
Did the book help you do that? Did the book help you put it all behind you and get on with your own stardom?
Yes, I'll tell you another story. I was sitting at home. This was about 1979. I had worked here at New York, and the critics tore me apart. I mean, they said, "Oh, the girl, she's so sweet, she's wonderful, she's gutsy and ballsy, you know, but she just doesn't have it."
Oh, God.
And so I was lying up in my bed one night. I said, "God, what can I do to make me now worthy of what the public wants?"
Yeah.
And he said to me, as Richard Presley, he resounded there, and he says, "Oh, Mary, you have a story in your head that everyone's asking you about Motown. Write the book you've been threatening to do." So I sat up in bed and I said, "That's what I'll do." And I wrote the book. And it has done that. It has put me, now Mary Wilson, when people see me on the street, they say, "You're Mary Wilson." And yes, it's done that, and I'm very proud of that.
Can you talk a little bit about that those Motown days?
Like
what was it like with
people?
Smokey Robinson and Marvin
Well,
Gaye?
I tell you, Marvin Gaye was absolutely, I tell you, we'd sit there on any given day, Diane Florence and I, and we'd say, "Hi, Marvin." And he'd always look at us, he'd say, "Hello, girls, how you doing?" And we're just staring. He was so, this man was just such a warm sort of human being there. One day I was standing in the lobby and Lamont Dozier stuck a pin in my behind. Lamont Dozier is one of the guys who wrote all the Supreme songs. I was wearing false behinds at the time.
Really?
Well, I was very skinny. See, I was really skinny. I had no behind.
I would never, ever know about that.
Well, I was always well endowed up here, but behind, you know, I was like flat, not like a black girl at all, you know. And so he says, "Oh," I stuck a pin in her behind, and she didn't even say ouch. I said, "Ouch!" And so at the moment, and then of course the Temptations were there. They laughed, you know, all the guys. It was a lot of fun at Motown, and it was one of the times in my life that I must say that I was around geniuses, and I didn't realize it. All I knew was I was around people who loved what they were doing.
Yeah. What about your blonde days?
Oh, my Doris Day days.
Yeah, your Doris. I love that story. That is so funny.
I'm very happy to say, like I said, I like being myself very, very much, but that was one time in my life when I was really impressed by Doris Day. She would open the refrigerator and she started singing, you know. And whatever happened, she would start singing. That's the way I always viewed myself. You know, I'm the kind of person I wake up smiling. Except when my publicist has me getting up at 6 a.m. in the morning to do AM shows. Yeah. But I'm very happy. So in those days, she sort of, it meant something to me. It was almost like, aha, now that's how I am. And in fact, perhaps that's how I think why I wanted to perform, because I said, I can be nice, cute girl and happy and perform, not like the quote-unquote star type, you know.
Yeah.
Queen
but
type.
one of the star things
But I just wanted to bring why I wore the blonde wig, because I really wanted to be Doris Day. I really did.
I love that. And she did. She went through a period where she wore blonde wigs.
Yes.
She looked a little odd, but it
I did.
You know, made her happy.
It was really strange. I really did. So I think that we tend to be a bit influenced by,
Sure
you know, what's out there, people we like. Yes, I'm sorry.
Now, one of the ways, though, that you influenced other people was fashion. You love the clothes.
Yeah, we have some,
didn't you?
some stills. I think we can put them
Oh
up.
my God.
Keep talking. No, you can
Oh
keep
my God.
talking.
Oh yes, that's.
Do you see them?
Yes.
There they are. They were. You were the fashion.
And you know, now
day.
this gown, they actually used a similar gown in the play Dreamgirls.
Yeah, Dreamgirls. They did.
And it was so cute because the girls would move across the stage and the whole bottom part of the dress would move. I mean, it's like it was on a motor or something like that. It was like really
Oh,
weird.
there you are. Look at that.
Yeah, with chiffons. But a lot of our gowns were designed by like Michael Travis and a lot of wonderful guys. Bob Mackie did some gowns for us. Right. But as a kid, my aunt, Ivy, always had Vogue magazines and all different colored fingernail polishes and all. And I would always sit there and just go through the polishes and look at the magazines and things. I always loved. I loved clothes. I mean, in fact, that's why I messed up my aunt's gowns when I was about 7. And I wrote about it in the book. Yeah. I had a tea party. I invited my little girlfriend over, and we tried on every gown. We got watermelon stains on it, and strawberry pop stains. And I put them back in the closet, hoping that she wouldn't find them. She came home. She says, "Someone stole all my clothes. I want to mess up all my clothes." And then my dad said, "I think I know who it was." And he says, "May May," and I was still not like this. I was scared to death, and I got the biggest spanking of my life.
Yeah, well, you should.
But I still love clothes.
Now we have to go, but we should mention that, that Mary is going to be at Michael's Pub.
I'm at Michael's
for
Pub
3
now.
weeks.
I'm
Yes.
at Michael's
Oh, you're
Pub
right
now.
now. So we'll have to come over and see you.
And you're
2
working
shows
on
a
your
night.
second book.
Yeah.
I'm working on my second book. Hopefully I'll do a novel.
Will you come back and visit us?
Oh,
again?
I'd love to. I enjoy
We'd
it.
love to
And my
see you.
mom would never forgive me if I don't say hi. She says, Mary, come here. Look at the hat she has on. Look at the hat she has on. She loves you. She loves you.
Say hello to Mom.
Okay.
All right. Listen, don't go away. He, she, and we. We try to communicate right after this. Thank you.